Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very merry planetarium show. Tonight, we're going to look at the sky that you can see during Christmas, and we're going to make our very own Christmas constellations. Today, we are going to start out in the northern part of the sky, called the circumpolar sky. The circumpolar sky is the sky that you can see all times of the year, whether it is January or July. You can find these constellations. This is also the part of the sky that is above the North Pole. When Santa looks up at the sky, this is the sky and the stars that he can see. Now let's imagine ourselves up north in the freezing Arctic. What do you think we would see? Think about the word circumpolar. What about a polar bear? Look, we can find one right over there now.
Yes, there is a polar bear in the sky. This polar bear is called Ursa Major. And Ursa Major is one of our prominent circumpolar constellations. We can find Ursa Major the easiest way by looking for what we call the Big Dipper. If we look off to the northeast here in our sky, you can find the handle and the cup of the Big Dipper. But the Big Dipper is only a part of Ursa Major, the Big Bear. So let's take a look at Ursa Major.
All right, there is Ursa Major, our mama polar bear, and she has a very good sense of direction. If she didn't, she'd get lost walking around in all that ice and snow. She always makes sure that she is walking towards our North Pole. Sara, can you tell us about how she finds our North Pole?
Well, the Big Dipper can actually help us find the North Star, because that's a special star in the northern sky that points us north. So if we use the Big Dipper inside of Ursa Major, we can use these two stars in the tummy of Ursa Major and follow those stars out into the sky. If we follow them out, it takes us to the North Star.
Now this is a very famous star. Many people think it's famous because it's bright. But do you think that star looks very bright?
No, not really.
No. The reason why this star is famous is because it doesn't move in the sky. All the other stars in the sky turn around as Earth turns, but this star stays in the same spot. And we said it was called the North Star. And the North Star is directly above our North Pole. So if you can find your North Star, you know which way to get to Santa Claus' house if you ever get lost. You can think of the North Star as a sign pointing towards the North Pole. Now let's look at what is next to our North Star.
So the North Star actually makes up the tail of the baby polar bear. Mama bear is over here with the Big Dipper, and baby bear is over here with the Little Dipper. So we can find the Little Dipper by kind of swooping down and making another scoop here. And there we have our Little Dipper.
Our mama and baby polar bears are right next to each other in the sky, and they won't lose track of each other as long as they know where to find that North Star. Next, I want you to think of a couple of people who might live at the North Pole. We know one of them is Santa, but there's also Mrs. Claus. Let's look for Mrs. Claus in our sky.
Well, we can find Mrs. Claus by looking for the constellation Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia, the Queen, is off to our northwest, and we're going to look for a big W shape, sometimes also an M or an E, depending on what time of night or what time of year you're seeing her. But here we have Cassiopeia, the Queen.
There is Mrs. Claus. She is nice and cozy at our North Pole, and she's making some hot chocolate and cookies. In fact, she is making a gingerbread house.
Ooh, a gingerbread house sounds really good. Yes, this gingerbread house can be found right between Mrs. Claus and the baby bear. This constellation is actually called Cepheus, the king. So we have Cassiopeia, the queen, and Cepheus, the king, right next to each other in the sky.
So we have our gingerbread house and we have Mrs. Claus and our 2 polar bears. But let's put up a little bit of decoration in our northern sky. Let's hang up some Christmas lights.
So our Christmas lights this time of year are going to be represented by Draco the dragon. Draco is another circumpolar constellation, and you can find his head down here, kind of this weird trapezoid shape. And he kind of curls up like this, and his tail comes between the 2 bears. But in our sky, Draco is going to be our Christmas lights.
Wow, look how pretty those Christmas lights look. Mrs. Claus is very proud of us. In fact, she told us that we can explore her house a little bit while we wait for Santa Claus to come back from flying around the world. And we are going to explore that house by turning around and looking towards the south.
All right, let's turn around. Here we are.
All right, so the first set of constellations we had looked at today, we could see all year round. But right now, we are looking at our winter sky. So these are constellations we can only see around winter. First, I think someone just got home.
Is it Santa?
I think it might be.
Oh man, we can find Santa in our southern sky, in our southern winter sky, by looking for the famous constellation Orion. If we look almost straight up south, we find the 3 bright belt stars that make up Orion's belt. We can go up to his shoulders and down to his legs, and he's got a bow or shield out in front of him. But you can think of this as being Santa. Santa's nice belt, his body, and maybe it's a big sack of toys on his shoulder.
Wow. He's been very busy visiting people and delivering presents all night. He leaves treats and stockings hung by the fireplace, and we even have a stocking here in our sky by his feet.
Yeah, we can find Lepus the hare underneath his feet. Usually the easiest way to find Lepus is to find it's another one of those weird trapezoids. But right here, under his feet, is Lepus the hare.
In our sky, we think it looks a bit like a stocking.
I like a stocking better.
It's a lot of hard work to visit everybody on Christmas Eve for Santa, so he needs some help. And some help comes from his trusty reindeer, which we can see in our sky here.
Yes, our reindeer are here in the sky as well, and the reindeer are represented by the constellation Canis Major. If we follow the belt stars down to this bright star, we can find this is in the collar of Canis Major, the big dog. Now, this star right here is called Sirius, and it is the brightest star in our nighttime sky. So you could imagine saying that it's seriously bright.
I guess you could. Sarah, do you have a favorite reindeer?
I want to say Comet.
I'm more of a Prancer fan myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But those reindeer put in a lot of hard work tonight on Christmas Eve, haven't they?
They have.
They probably are looking for a nice little treat to relax with. And one festive treat we can find in our sky is a Yule log.
Ooh, Yule logs are yummy.
Yes, they are.
We can find the Yule log in our sky tonight by looking for the constellation of Canis Minor, or the little dog. The story goes that Orion is hunting with his 2 dogs, Canis Major and Canis Minor. But Canis Minor is pretty little, so I think that works pretty well for a Yule log.
So Santa and his reindeer and Mrs. Claus aren't the only ones at the North Pole. There's lots of helpers that Santa has to help him deliver his toys all night and build the toys all year round. So we are going to go ahead and look for a couple of elves in our sky.
Ooh, I know where the elves are. They're right up here above Santa's arm. This constellation is known as Gemini. Gemini is called the twins. And the twins' heads are represented by these 2 bright stars, Castor and Pollux. And they kind of come down like this, and so they kind of make a big rectangle shape. Let's take a look at those 2 twins.
There are our elves. They've had a long night making sure that we all got our presents built and delivered. But not only does Santa leave gifts in stockings, he also leaves gifts under the Christmas tree. In the Claus household, they have a magnificent Christmas tree.
We can find that Christmas tree in our sky by looking for the constellation Taurus. Now, Taurus the bull is up here, about ready to fight Orion. We can find this V shape that marks his face, and that V shape also marks the top of our Christmas tree.
Wow. So it looks like we have a pretty cozy Christmas scene up in our southern and northern skies tonight. I hope that your Christmas is just as cozy and just as wonderful as the one we can see here. And I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please feel free to follow us on our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter accounts for more updates on shows and events. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!